Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Discussions. I am here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey with my co-host and mentor, the illustrious, the one and only, the Pope of the Internet, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you today, sir?
Okay.
And we're here once again. It's amazing how these weeks fly by. And it's Saturday, August 13th. Now, it's not Friday the 13th, so hopefully the number 13 will bring us some luck. Yes, it is Saturday, August 13th, 2011, and we are here for another very informative, enlightening discussions, and I am here with me prop, imported from Ireland, Blackthorn Weapons Grade Shillelagh. Now, I would like to start the show. I spoke personally to the gentleman, and he approved of me doing a tribute to him. And I'm going to do it. Okay, let me do it right. Now, Dr. Bill, you instruct me as to the correct proximity of this.
Up a little.
You see it, right?
We can see it now.
This happens to be, actually, I have a reminder on my clipboard, but I don't think I'll need it yet. This happens to be my little Irish shamrock garden, which is about 2 years old. When I got it on St. Patrick's Day, it was a tiny little sprig, and now it is a full shamrock garden, complete with shamrock flowers. You see the little white posies? All right. What happened was I decided to put it out on the front porch in, I would say, indirect or semi-indirect bright sunlight. And apparently it likes the idea. All right. So, therefore, these are authentic Irish shamrocks. With the shillelagh, with my green Izod shirt, I would like to do a tribute to Hall of Fame professional wrestler, Mr. Davey O'Hannon, Irish Davey O'Hannon, who wrestled from, I believe, 1971 to 1990. He wrestled for Vince McMahon Sr., WWF, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. What? Oh, the shillelagh. Okay, hold on. Let me get a better grip on this pot. All right. How's that? Where was I? Oh, he wrestled for Vince McMahon Sr.'s Worldwide Wrestling Federation and the National Wrestling Alliance, which is the NWA, from 1971 to 1990. And I would like to salute Irish Davey O'Hannon, who is retired now from wrestling, right now with the shillelagh. And old school wrestling at its best. Irish Davey O'Hannon traveled the country and wrestled for NWA and, of course, Vince McMahon Sr.'s WWF before it became Worldwide Entertainment. You know, old school wrestling at its best. And how I met Mr. O'Hannon, I asked him, and at the moment I told him the story of how I met him many years ago at a wrestling event. I believe it was Island, New Jersey, which is in central New Jersey. I think it's near Edison. Okay, I was running security with my friend, my old-time friend, Mr. Tony Testosterone, otherwise known as Brian Slate, and I believe Jeff Peters was there. Okay, now, it was a funny story, Dr. Bill. I was telling Mr. O'Hannon the story, reminiscing at an East Coast Professional Wrestling 2008 awards dinner at the, let's see, in Saddlebrook, New Jersey, at the VFW. I guess it's what is it? Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. It was a ECPW Awards Dinner 2008, and I said to him, "Look, I was doing security with my friend at the time in Island, and all of a sudden these two really big older gentlemen came in through the back door. They entered the building through the back door, not the front door, and you know, my responsibility was to make sure nobody sneaks in, but I did not know who they were. So what happened was I asked one of the older, large, athletic-looking gentlemen, I said to him, "Excuse me, sir, you need to get stamped. You need to be stamped." So the man said to me in a very stern, loud, angry voice, in other words, he hollered at me. He says,
stamp you.
He says, "I'll stamp your ass." Now, I didn't know that man was Dominic DeNucci, another Hall of Fame legend that, you know, used to tag team, I think, with Bruno Sammartino, I think back in the early 1960s. I didn't know it was Dominic DeNucci from Venice, Italy, I believe. So anyway, "I'll stamp your ass." So later I found out who they were, and I apologized, but, you know, and the other man was, of course, Irish Davy O'Hannon, who was very nice to me. He has always been respectful and very nice to me at all times, and I never forget that. Dominic DeNucci was giving me dirty looks, and he was pissed at me all night long. He did not like me. I asked Dominic DeNucci, "Where's Bruno Sammartino?" And he said to me, "Where the fuck do I know?" What the fuck do I know? You know, something like that. So I wasn't gonna win him over and make him smile, so I gave up. But anyway, that's how I first met him, and then of course later on at the awards dinner, ECPW Awards Dinner 2008, when my buddy, the reinforcer Andrew Anderson, won Most Popular Wrestler of the Year award then, and you can see the video on YouTube of me and Andrew Anderson. Anyway, Mr. Davey O'Hannon is on my Facebook friends page, and he told me he's very happy that I'm doing the tribute. And he says, "Jimmy, you know, I'm all for it. You know, it sounds great." Anyway, salute to Davey O'Hannon, the Irish Shamrocks with flowers in bloom, and the shillelagh. All right. Excuse me. Let me just put it here for now. Let me rinse my hands off, because I'm a very, very clean, fastidious person. You don't forget I was holding that pot of shamrocks, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Alright, now, back to the show. Excuse me while I put on my reading glasses. Now, I was noticing, Dr. Bill, that it seems like money, the possession of money in this modern day capitalist American society sort of defines you, unfortunately, as a human being. Now, this is not in the Bible. This is the material world of Satan, you know, especially a conservative run capitalist America. It seems like the more money you have, the more you are noticed. If you are an elitist, that is a celebrity like a Donald Trump, you're very well respected, and you get a lot of attention. If you're a rich person who's not a celebrity, you still get a lot of respect and somewhat some attention, you know, maybe locally. And if you're making $250,000, $100,000 a year, you still are respected. Oh, you pay your taxes, you're supposedly, and you have money, so people kiss your ass, your friends, relatives, and whatever, family. And then, of course, if you're a working stiff, nobody knows you. You're semi-translucent or semi-invisible. And then, of course, if you're flat broke and you're homeless and you're living out of a refrigerator box, if that's your condominium, and people do not see you at all, you're totally invisible. You're totally, and people do not care what you have to say, which is sad. That money defines you as a human being. So sadly, the lack of money makes you invisible. Okay. Any brief summarizing comment about that before I move on?
Only that the other day, it seems there's a tent city. I forgot the city or town it's in New Jersey here, and
Very sad. A tent city.
yeah, the people, the one couple were making like $100,000 just about 2 years ago.
Really?
Now they're living out of a tent,
Oh gosh.
and it looks like the town wants to close them down. There's several people
they're
living
treating
in
them
the
like-
tent, not just them.
They're treating them like gypsies or something.
Well, that's what it looks like.
So these people got laid off from their high-paying job and they lost their home, foreclosed mortgage.
They lost everything, basically.
You know, chances are there's a good chance these people were paying off everything on time, and you know, they didn't have any assets that actually belonged to them. But you know, according to the Bible, real Christians should be content with contentment. Contentment. You should be content with contentment, which means if you have a roof over your head, if you have a decent home, shelter, you know, clothes on your body, reasonable amount of clothes, not rip off overpriced designer clothes, but decent clothes, and you have food, adequate, nutritious food, and your health, of course, very important. You should be content with contentment. That's pretty much what wealth, what required wealth is in the Bible. As opposed to an evangelist, Mr. Joel Osteen, would tell you, always talking about getting rich, and God wants you to be wealthy, and God wants you to be even wealthier. That's not in the Bible. Now, I found out recently that food stamps in New Jersey were lowered, which doesn't surprise me because we have the greedy, mean-spirited, conservative, gluttonous, very rotund Chris Christie. I'm sure Governor Chris Christie's grocery supply is not lowered, but food stamps in New Jersey were lowered. You know, so I'm sure Chris Christie's grocery supply is not lowered. Okay,
I'm sure he had to give that money to the casinos, which we will probably read about.
Which we would read about right later on. And then concerning New Jersey Transit's fare hike with the trains, the PATH train, Mr. Christie avoided the question by saying, well, it's not on the table yet and I haven't made a decision, you know, and totally blew off the answer. And, of course, the people were protesting and very angry. Okay. Oh, shame on you, Mr. Saul Zabar, the owner of the famous Zabar's Deli in New York City. You're going to get a kick out of this, Dr. Bill. He recently got caught in a little scam, so to speak. His very expensive Zabar's lobster salad was found to contain not lobster at all, but crawfish. Now, even though, despite the fact that the lobster industry up in Maine had told him he should really change the name and take lobster off the container because crawfish is not lobster, old man Saul Zabar told the news reporter in front of a camera that crawfish is a form of lobster, therefore he felt justified to call it lobster salad. Now, crawfish is in fact a distant cousin to the lobster, the langosta, a distant cousin. It is a tiny freshwater swamp-dwelling distant cousin of the lobster. In this case, they are farm-raised, and much of them come from Louisiana. I assume they live in the bayou swamps. They are a distant cousin. It is not a lobster from the ocean. So here we go. Deregulated companies, deregulated big business in America are playing with words and misleading the public in advertisement and trying to. I mean, what's your take on this? It sounds very familiar, Dr. Bill.
Well, it's what's in the product is it's just like the irradiation. It's just like the GMOs. They don't want to tell you what's in the product. They just want you to buy the product.
Yeah. So, and of course, if conservatives are in control of the states and the country, companies are allowed to flat out lie to you, to the consumer. In this case, he's playing with the words. He's twisting things, kind of like spin doctor Republicans, twisting and turning and
they do that with the Bible, don't they? They twist and wrest the scriptures.
Yeah. Well, he
fit their particular way of living, way of life.
Now, food companies used to call langostinos lobster, but now they've gone even farther. Oh, by the way, some restaurants that make lobster bisque were using the artificial crab meat. They were caught, and you know what? They're right. They were using that because when you see little bits of bright orange, artificial crab meat is made from pollock, which is a very cheap codfish. They add crab flavoring. They add other things, maybe cornstarch or whatever. And the skin, the rind, is like a bright orange. And it's not lobster, but they were getting away with it in a sneaky, dastardly way, trying to pass it off as lobster bisque. So if you people out there, you Americans that are in a seafood restaurant, order lobster bisque and you see strips of bright orangey red, it's not lobster. All right. But anyway, Zabar, shame on you, Saul Zabar, you old geezer, you rich old geezer. How much money do you really need to make to nickel and dime your consumers and deceive your consumers like this? How much money do you need to possess, Saul Zabar? Really, seriously. You're not rich enough that you need to lie to your customers like this. Anyway.
He wants to take it with him.
I guess he thinks coffins have pockets.
Yeah.
And room for carry-on luggage.
He'll need it in the afterlife. Like the Egyptians.
Yeah. He thinks he's a pharaoh. He's going to take it with him. Anyway, like a lot of conservative elitists, the last thing I want to say is this big mouth Gorgon, the snake-headed Medusa, the new conservative witch that was added to the conservative coven, possibly maybe the leader now of the conservative coven of witches, 2012 presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann, wants to eliminate, I think she was on Good Morning America not too long ago, and she wants to eliminate the minimum wage because she feels that would totally wipe out the unemployment rate. Oh yeah, right. People making minimum wage in 2011 in the 21st century, or making less than minimum wage, Michelle Bachmann, they can really afford to make ends meet and survive in modern day America and pay their bills and everything. And come on, man.
That's not what Michelle Bachmann and her ilk want. They want slavery, pure and simple. So, don't outfit her with those kind of feelings. She doesn't have them.
So, in other words,
conservatives don't have those.
Of course, when she said it will eliminate unemployment, it's a flat-out lie.
Of course, it's a lie.
Okay, but what is her answer to unemployment? That's what I want to know.
Well, their answer is that there are the same answer they had for people who are on welfare. You have to work for your welfare stipend.
Work where?
Where's the job?
Where's the jobs?
There's more than 25 million people unemployed right now who want to work. There aren't any jobs.
No.
And if you wait around for a Republican to provide a job, you're out of luck. Because the only jobs they provide are in foreign countries.
Outsourced.
And for themselves.
Mainland China, which I think probably India's jobs are outsourced to mainland China because they do it cheaper. Bottom line motivated. That's all they care about.
We got
bottom
right now,
feeders.
We got right now Verizon. They're on strike. The people are on strike. Verizon outsources their tech phone calls and etc.
I had a Verizon upper management person say that the union people that work for Verizon have it too easy. They have it too good. They need to service 8 clients per day instead of the whatever 50% less of that they do now. Oh yeah, make everybody totally, work themselves to a frenzy, to work themselves ragged until they fall flat on their face. I guess that would make Verizon happy.
Karl Marx had the answer to what one of the big problems is in our capitalistic society.
Yeah.
You get hired by some business.
Right.
He pays you $20 an hour. In that hour, you produce for him a lot more than your $20. So therein is the problem.
Yeah.
The profit margin.
It's imbalanced. It's like
Correct.
with the
and it causes the imbalance in the society.
It's like with a deficit. The problem is lack of revenue from the rich not paying taxes. It's not the poor and the people on welfare or the homeless.
Well,
It's not
like
that.
the Tea Party.
It's not the Democrats.
The government is spending too much. The government is spending too much.
Sure,
But it's
military.
not- exactly. But the government is not spending. I mean, they're looking in the wrong place. The government's not spending too much military. It's not spending too much in interest payment. It's not spending too much in subsidies to profitable companies like ExxonMobil and GE.
But having compassion and spending
Right.
money on the poor,
Correct.
America's poor, and helping the homeless. Oh, that's spending too much.
That's correct.
But giving taxpayers money in the trillions to Wall Street, to elitists, and to with war profiteering with Iraq and Afghanistan and the bloated military budget. Oh, that's not spending too much.
That's correct.
According to the Tea Party. Michelle Bachmann, I think she made a statement. She wants to rid America of all the it sounded like a right-wing fundamentalist statement, like a religious nut statement, obscenities or things, undesirable things, or
well, that's always one of their platforms.
like Christine,
is to get rid of pornography and
like Christine the Witch O'Donnell, the slutty witch, I should say. O'Donnell wanted to outlaw masturbation and pornography. Where you can't even watch it in your own home. Hey, look, if you're a consenting adult and you want to swing, like a close friend of mine, Iron Man Vinny Blake, if you're dealing with consenting adults and they want to swing and they want to have wild parties in their house, as long as there's no minors involved, in a free country, they have a right to do that. But then again, do the conservative Republicans want a free country?
No.
No,
They have no idea what they mean when they say freedom.
fascism.
When they say freedom, they're talking about freedom for the corporation, freedom for the rich, but they're not talking for freedom for the little guy, because if you don't have money, you don't have freedom. Period.
And you're invisible if you don't have money, like we were talking about the homeless. All right, first article. You got a nice juicy one to start off this week?
Entitlement my foot.
I like it already.
I paid cash for my Social Security insurance. Just because they borrowed the money doesn't make my benefits some kind of charity or handout. Congressional benefits, also known as free health care, outrageous retirement packages, 67 paid holidays, 3 weeks paid vacation, unlimited paid sick days. Now that's welfare. And they have the nerve to call my retirement entitlements? What in the world is wrong? Wake up, America! Someone please tell me what on earth is wrong with all the people that run this country. We're broke and can't help our own seniors, veterans, orphans, homeless. In the last months, we've provided aid to Haiti, Chile, Turkey, Japan, and now Pakistan, home of bin Laden. Literally billions of dollars. Our retired seniors living on a fixed income receive no aid, nor do they get any breaks, while our government and religious organizations pour hundreds of billions of dollars and tons of food to foreign countries. They call Social Security and Medicare an entitlement, even though most of us have been paying for it all our working lives. And now, when it's time for us to collect, the government is running out of money. Why did the government borrow it in the first place? We have hundreds of adoptable children who are shoved aside to make room for the adoption of foreign orphans. America, a country where we have homeless without shelter, children going to bed hungry, elderly going without needed medicine, and mentally ill without treatment. Yet, they have a benefit for the people of Haiti on 12 TV stations. Ships and planes lining up with food, water, tents, clothes, bedding, doctors, and medical supplies. Imagine if the government gave us the same support they give to other countries. Sad, isn't it?
I don't think they did it to Katrina victims. Hurricane Katrina, did they?
No.
Same thing.
I wouldn't be focusing and blaming, other victims.
No.
I would blame the people on Wall Street, and the people that we gave trillions and trillions of dollars, foreign banks, foreign businesses, 21,000 trillions, $16.1 trillion.
I have no problem whatsoever helping the poor Haitians after that devastating earthquake. It's not the issue. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. We're not against helping foreign countries that are in need, like Japan with the tsunami and the earthquake, and
all of that aid
it's
and
not the
foreign
problem.
aid is relatively nothing compared to what we did with the bailouts.
Yeah, we're anti-Wall Street bailouts and anti-excessive, unnecessary military budget and anti-war profiteering. That's what we're anti. And we're anti not making the rich pay their fair share in taxes.
Making them richer.
Making them even richer. Like General Electric not paying any,
which is unbiblical too, by the way,
federal income taxes last year. Or I'm sure all those companies don't pay any taxes.
Somebody should tell Michelle Bachmann that, and Rick Perry.
Oh yeah, Rick Perry, Governor Rick Perry of Texas, who has to pray for our nation, and all the right-wing fundamentalists, red state, conservative holy rollers, all the religious nuts, all the zealots, with their hands up. Do they have their hands up in the air?
Oh yeah. Eyes closed in a trance.
In a trance. Oh, they're because they all have a bat phone to God. These right-wing holy rollers that thump the Bible, but they do not know the Bible. Like what Christine O'Donnell was doing. All these conservatives do the same thing. They make believe they're speaking in tongues. Come on, give me a break.
It's a strange thing. Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell, if he was alive, and they always are quick to let's say Florida gets a hurricane. They're quick to blame. Oh, God punished you because you got gays and you like gays and stuff. I haven't heard anything. Texas is undergoing, the state, 95% of the state is in a drought, an extreme and a drought all over, right? And I haven't heard anybody say, well, maybe just God is punishing Texas because of Rick Perry.
Oh yeah, Democrats don't say that.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
could. Well, didn't Pat Robertson say that Haiti got what it deserved with
Yeah.
the earthquake because they practiced voodoo.
Correct.
They're so judgmental, the right-wing fundamentalists. They seem to feel that they're representing God himself, and
But they only point the finger at others, though, never at themselves. That's my point.
what about their greed and lack of compassion for the poor?
Well, that goes with the without saying when you're talking about a conservative.
And what about their love for money, which is idolatry, right?
Yep.
Self-righteousness, the sin of Job.
What about their wrong God? They don't have the God of the Bible.
No, they don't know the God of the Bible, because they don't know it. They're trying to rewrite the Bible. Meanwhile, the last chapter of the book of Revelations tells you, he who takes away from this book or adds to this book shall get their ass kicked big time. Well, not literally, but you read it. It's pretty severe. God makes it very, very plain and straightforward. Anyway, outstanding first article for this week's show.
On the final day of his shore tour on Friday, Governor Christie got a quick look at how the state's $250 million was being spent in Atlantic City.
Oh, that place is a crime-ridden ghetto.
At
Shamrock.
standing 114 feet above the Atlantic Ocean in what will be the Sky Garden of Atlantic City's soon-to-be newest hotel and casino.
What's it called again?
Sky Garden.
Sky Garden. What a stupid name that is. Sky Garden.
Well,
What does that have to do with a resort casino?
that's
know,
where $250 million of state money is going.
Sky Garden. There's no correlation between those two words. What a dumbass name.
Christie said the state's investment
Oh boy.
into the stalled Revel project, as well as its pledge to help revitalize the city, is starting to bear fruit.
Revitalize the city. Wasn't that the original intention on casino gambling?
Yes.
That never worked? Atlantic City became so corrupt and crime-ridden that, the riffraff was starting to go onto the boardwalk, bothering the patrons, the tourists, of the casinos, of the hotel casinos. And did Christie take over the Atlantic City? Did the state troopers and the state take over Atlantic City?
No.
Now, why would anybody want to go to Atlantic City if it's a crime-ridden ghetto and you get mugged?
But why would we be investing state money in a casino when we don't have enough for the poor and health? For the poor and women and
education,
children and education.
And education.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying before. They're hypocrites.
They seem to find this money in a ailing economy for the rich, but not for the poor.
Everything for Chris Christie's rich buddies, the elitists, big business. And does any Democrats in Trenton come forth and stick their face in front of local television, like let's say News 12 New Jersey,
Well,
and tell people what he's doing? He's being a hypocrite. He's taking away from the little guy and reverse Robin Hood, right?
Yeah.
And giving it to the rich.
Well, some of those Democrats do step forward, but it's not real. It's not real
And
because
the news media doesn't emphasize.
for instance, as far as Sweeney is concerned, Democrats won him out because he sold them out in negotiations with Christie against the unions.
Are there some Democrats that were anti-union in New Jersey?
Sweeney is I believe he's the head of the Senate.
Then what's Sweeney's stance on the unions?
Well, he sold them out in a particular issue.
Wait.
With Christie.
He was playing Barack Obama with Chris Christie? He was trying to compromise bipartisanship crap
That's what they did.
and try and stiff the unions? That's what
Yeah.
Sweeney did?
So the unions want him out. They are going to be working against his release.
I agree with the unions. Out! Out, you sellout.
Out, damn spot.
Elitist bastard. Out! No, we can't have that. We can't have anti-American worker, anti-union. Forget it. It'll bring New Jerseyites closer to slavery, which is what conservative Republicans really want.
That's what they want, because the unions were... Remember, if it wasn't for unions, you wouldn't have the 8-hour day. You wouldn't have no children working in the workplace. You wouldn't have all of these things.
What a harpy. What a gorgon. The snake-headed Michelle Bachmann for coming up with a stupid statement about, the minimum wage law. Yeah, it's gonna solve unemployment. Anyway, what else is going on?
This administration has a big investment in it, and we're starting to see the fruits of that investment all across Atlantic City, Christie said. Make no mistake about it, Atlantic City is very important to New Jersey's future.
It is?
Christie's 3-day whirlwind tour, which ended in Ocean City on Friday, included no announcements of new initiatives or programs, but gave him much face time with the public.
I'm sure Christie going to the famous Borgata buffet in Atlantic City would be a whirlwind tour. It would mean no profits for the Borgata.
At Revel, which is expected to open on May 15th, Christie walked a path lined by construction workers, whom he said would not have jobs had it not been for the state's partnership with Revel's executives to get the stalled $2.4 billion project restarted.
Is that a Republican photo opportunity?
Christie in February announced the state's $250 million investment in Revel in return for a 20% share of the revenues. Absent from the entourage of politicians standing beside Christie was Atlantic City Mayor Lorenzo Langford, who has lambasted Christie's plan to have the state run a district carved out of the city's casino and entertainment areas.
Well, what is Langford? What's his Lorenzo Langford?
Lorenzo Langford.
What is he doing about the crime in Atlantic City? Keeping the
The
riffraff.
same thing Cory Booker's doing about it in Newark.
Cory Booker. Is Cory Booker a modern-day young David Dinkins?
I don't know if he's a David Dinkins.
Because Dinkins did nothing for crime in New York City when he was mayor. all the aggressive panhandlers and the squeegee people were on the streets bothering everybody. The hookers were bothering everybody, walking the streets. It took Rudy Giuliani and Police Commissioner Bratton to clean house.
By the way, is over in England right now.
To clean house, yeah.
Telling them how to handle the rioters over there. Mr.
How to
Bratton.
handle the rioters who are desperately in need of survival.
Well, that's how they started
Poor?
out, yes.
So what do they expect the people to do when they have no money, food, jobs, and...
Well, now they're just criminals.
Oh, you're a criminal. So if you're starving, so if you're homeless and you have no food and you protest or riot, you're a criminal, according to Republicans.
Remember, if a person is hungry and steals bread, he's still a criminal.
In their eyes. Not in the Bible's eyes. Not in God's eyes. Okay, interesting.
In Ocean City, Christie's appearance was more of a meet and greet for tourists on the boardwalk.
Oh boy, like he meted and greeted the old lady that time when he claimed that the old lady admitted
rebates,
she was better off now with Christie than she was ever before in her life. Meanwhile, Christie took away the homestead rebate and everything else for the seniors. We're going to take a break because Dr. Bill has to partake in his lunch, followed by high green tea, and we'll be back. Hello there, we're back. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman, my co-host and mentor, is partaking in his lunch right now, which smells very good, which is takes place before high green tea. you are experiencing blah, blah.
Have you ever been experienced?
You are experiencing discussions for this week at the newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey. I am your host, James Parana Madonna of Megalife 21, and I'm here with the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Dr. Oz really shocked me. He had a show, just on the penis. It was discussing all of the problems of the penis that arises, that no pun intended, that arises from birth until men become an old geezer.
Ooh.
And of course he went into erectile dysfunction in later years, and I was very proud of him. He recommended many natural products that are very beneficial to older men that have erectile dysfunction and enlargement of the prostate, if you are a candidate for that. He mentioned salt, palmetto berry extract. He mentioned changing the diet and losing the belly fat, fresh fruits and vegetables, berries. He mentioned usually when men get their diet straight. Oh, he mentioned omega-3s. He mentioned arginine. Smart guy. If somebody mentions
Ginkgo.
the amino acid arginine, which is the best, safest natural alternative to Viagra and Cialis without any negative side effects, if a doctor mentions arginine, he has your best interest at heart. So I was proud of him. He did not push any drugs. He mentioned arginine. He did not mention ginkgo biloba, which is actually very good to take with the arginine because it increases blood circulation to the extremities of the body, like in senility, the brain, I guess your hands and feet, your legs, arms. But, the penis happens to be an extremity. It's an extension. Some men are much more endowed than others. When it
They
comes
have a bigger extension.
When it comes to that extension, the schlong, so to speak, the schlong. But arginine, excellent choice, getting the diet right. He said usually when men change their lifestyle around in terms of dietary, changes, usually the erectile dysfunction disappears. Hopefully. And but what was disgusting was, well, his analogy was cute. Instead of using a penis, he used a carrot going into a styrofoam snowman. But he didn't put the carrots, at the bottom. He put them on the top. He tried to be nice, and he had a petrified, dehydrated cadaver penis, which kind of grossed me out.
Oh my God!
But he wanted to show, poor guy who passed away. But he wanted to show, where the urethra was, and what is the tube where the seminal fluid descends from the prostate? Is it vas deferens, something like that?
Vas deferens.
Whatever.
That's from the testicles up to the seminal vessel.
And he showed how to detect testicular cancer, which can happen to young men. He says you feel
put his finger up.
No, you feel the testicle. No, that's enlarged prostate. The PSA test, right?
No, that's blood.
Yeah.
No, the digital finger test.
Digital finger test?
Yeah, he sticks it up your ass. Feels your prostate.
Prostrate, straight. Yeah, my grandfather used to say prostrate. It's prostate. Anyway, he says the testicle is normally soft. If you feel something hard, like banging on your knuckle,
Oh boy.
That's testicular cancer, God forbid. But anyway,
I don't want nobody banging on my testicle.
no. But, and of course the women he had to get up and demonstrate the little props. They were average looking to unattractive overweight women. He did not have any young hoochies.
Then he tried to He tried to
family.
take away the sexual appeal.
He did not have any young, good-looking, or hot-looking hoochies, Dr. Oz, to come up on the set
However,
to demonstrate the little gadgets he had.
I just read in Time magazine today
You know, some infomercial chick with the big boobs hanging up.
that as far as men and women are concerned in this country, there is only like 2 or 3% of really, really good-looking people.
You talking about model material? Swimsuit model, lingerie model, car show model, high fashion model, even though they got no breasts at all. They're like a stick. They have no curves. They're like this shillelagh handle. You know? Yeah, I mean, in other words, what you're trying to say is the faccia brutas, as we say in Italian.
Outnumber.
The ugly people.
Outnumber.
Far outnumber the good-looking
The really
individuals.
good-looking ones.
So, you're saying that I am part of the world's minority? Makeup. Where's the makeup lady? Powder. And of course, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is in that 3%. This is a good segue. This is a self-portrait, a watercolor self-portrait. This guy right next to me, right here, that my blackthorn shillelagh is pointing at, is a self-portrait of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman happens to be a fine watercolor artist. You can view the William J. Eisenman collection by going to the William J. Eisenman Facebook profile or going to newslettercensored.com. You don't need to type in the www anymore, right? I think it comes up by default. The HTTP hypertext protocol :/www. You just type in newslettercensored.com and I think it comes up. Anyway, in the browser.
If you Google it, maybe.
Right. Newslettercensored.com or the Facebook profile of William J. Eisenman, and you will see the William J. Eisenman collection of fine watercolor art. Until William J. Eisenman emails me the newest, most recent paintings that he has done. Then I will remake the infamous William J. Eisenman collection slideshow video for the internet with music. In this case, Caribbean steel drum songs, because he told me he likes Caribbean steel drum music. And I got some really good ones. Nice ones, too. Anyway, you view the collection of fine watercolor art. If you see something you like, email the Reverend Dr. Bill to see if any of it's available. And if it is, you can purchase an original signed by William J. Eisenman himself. Original watercolor painting, the original one of a kind, can be yours. The bidding starts at $500 each. Now, last but not least, this is the foundation of our entire organization, Newsletter Censored. Founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. This is the underground media. This newsletter contains the type of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? This newsletter contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. There is nothing like this newsletter anywhere in the mainstream media or the mainstream press. You will not read or hear anything like this anywhere else in the universe. This is hard-hitting news, like I said before, that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? This is a new issue, number 116, volume number 116, titled "This Country Was Never a Christian Nation." Is that correct, sir?
Mm-hmm.
All right. If there's room, it is followed by tidbits, which is current news topics and comments of importance, but there's no room for that this time. Followed by The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, where William J. Eisenman shows you and teaches you what the Bible really has to say, not what right-wing fundamentalist, conservative, zealot, counterfeit Christian Republicans, conservative, counterfeit Christian Republicans would like you to know what the Bible says in their words, because they are trying to rewrite the Bible. This is what the Bible really has to say. Okay? And then, last but not least, sexuality, a holistic approach, as a big bonus. As a big bonus.
And I received
by William J. Eisman, PhD. So get it now. Get your subscription. Go to newslettercensored.com with your subscription. Annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Get Newsletter Censored right now. You need Newsletter Censored in the end times. We are living in the end times. You need Newsletter Censored to help defeat a conservative. What would you like to say? Am I holding it up properly, sir? Am I holding it up? All right. Who are you?
I received accolade the other day from a young lady who happens to have read the last 2 issues of Sexuality, a Holistic Approach.
She's a subscriber?
Which dealt with fisting.
Now, before we were talking about Dr. Oz discussing the penis.
I wonder if you would discuss fisting.
No. This is something that you would hear only on Internet Talk Radio. Fisting would it be considered a form of fetish? Perhaps?
I guess so.
Please explain to the viewers exactly what fisting is.
Fisting is the introduction of the whole hand into either the vagina or the anus.
Holy shit. No pun intended.
Now when the hand
Holy cannoli.
when the hand is in the vagina, you make a fist, please.
Yay.
Well, not like that. Not like you're going to punch somebody. Just make a fist.
What kind of a fist are you talking about?
A fist. Just close your hand.
This much?
Close your hand.
That much?
Close your hand.
That much?
Close your hand.
Am I supposed
Close
to?
your hand. There you go.
Is this supposed
Something
to be
like that.
slowly?
No, not slowly.
All right, fist. What more do you want?
No, you enter.
You enter.
Which like like 1 or 2 fingers at a time.
One.
And then
Or
you
maybe this one.
introduce 2.
I don't want
or
people to think
3,
I'm telling.
or 4.
Or
And then you, as you
Very
move
complicated.
inside up to the wrist, you
Yeah,
have it closed as a
Shit.
fist inside.
up to the wrist, and then you close. So it becomes like a mega butt plug or something.
Well, it's not a butt plug, but a mega dildo, or I guess, or certainly a little less than a
Shillelagh?
baby's head.
Oh, and I guess what it does is it stimulates the woman's G-spot,
Some
Grafenberg,
women,
Grafenberg or something.
as pointed out in the article, some
Or
women
maybe a man's
may,
prostate if they happen to.
some women may
Be gay.
achieve orgasm through fisting. Others do not. Others, it's more like a spiritual connection with the other person, the trust.
I can never
etc.
understand that spiritual connection. What does this
it depends.
this exotic addition to the Kama Sutra have to do with love? I can never understand the connection between the performance and the positions and the fetishes with actual spiritual love.
Well,
Brother Love,
It is-
remember him from wrestling? From the
you cannot help but undergo a separation when you're trying to discuss something of that nature. I mean, look what Dr. Oz had to do. So, I mean, that happens.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I was embarrassed because, I mean, there was women in Dr. Oz's audience, and there were a lot of men, and they were talking about how the penis, this is what embarrasses me. Dr. Oz says, you guys have no problem maintaining your motor vehicles, your cars, and taking it in for mechanical maintenance. But the penis...
Or doing it yourself.
But right, or doing it yourself. But the penis needs maintenance. This is what he's saying.
It needs a workout too. Every
What?
now and then.
Maintaining the penis or
the
using
penis
it.
needs a workout. Using it.
Now
Use it or lose it.
He mentioned overuse or damage to the penis causes it to be crooked.
Peyronie's disease.
Is that only pirates usually used to get that? Arr, Peyronie's disease. Arr, me bucko.
P-Y. P-Y.
Oh, okay.
Not P-I.
Oh, Peyronie's disease.
Peyronie's disease, yes,
Arr.
where the penis is crooked.
Long John Silver.
Now, Wallace had that, the porn star.
Bendix, they call it.
Wallace.
William
Wallace,
Bendix,
whatever
the
his
actor,
first
had
name
that?
was. He
Get it?
had Peyronie's disease.
Get it? William Bendix.
His penis used to go up like a banana.
Hey, I love mushrooms. I'm a fun guy.
You know?
Like it
Like
used
a
to go
banana?
up like a banana.
Yeah.
Well, like one Chinese woman said, a balala. She couldn't pronounce banana. I don't know how she connected banana with balala, but a balala. So the balala was curving too much this way.
Yeah.
No, but we're talking about going sideways, crooked.
Oh, well,
Is
it's
that from-
probably the same disease, but different direction, I guess.
Now, Peyronie's disease. What causes Peyronie? What is the main disease?
Damage to the penis.
So you didn't answer my question. Did the actor William Bendix have
William
Peyronie's
Bendix,
disease?
at the time William Bendix was on, what was the name of the show?
Bendix.
No, it wasn't. I used to watch him, in fact, back in the 50s. William Bendix and I forget the name of the show. Anyway, back then there was no hint, not even a hint, of sexuality on television.
Is that when Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz slept in separate beds?
That's correct.
And they had pajamas up to here?
That's correct.
God.
Yeah.
And where did babies come from in the 1950s?
Storks.
The stork?
Stork brought.
Not a crane or a condor,
No, it's a stork.
but a stork.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, when I was a little kid, I asked my grandmother where babies came from, and she said they come from the hospital. You place an order, like a catalog order, and then. But when I asked her what are breasts for, what is a woman's breast for, she flat out said to feed the baby. So she was able to say the breast is there to feed the baby to a little kid.
Well,
as
that
in
is its
a little
first-
piranha like me.
That is its first assignment.
But when I asked where the babies came from, she said you got to order them from the hospital and they deliver them to you like a freaking like a pizza pie or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting. But my
Did
grandfather.
you take a number?
No, she didn't mention that. Like a
I don't think they had them in those days.
like Zabar's Deli. Did
Yeah.
you take a number?
Take a
And
number,
then my
please.
grandfather used to tell me that Santa Claus, that's how he pronounced it.
The Antichrist.
Santa Claus. When they came from Sicily, they lived in Hell's Kitchen, New York. So it was like Santa Claus. I said, "Hey, Grandpa, how come Santa Claus? How does he get down the chimney if he's so fat? He's built like Chris Christie. How does he get down the chimney?" He says, "Oh, Santa Claus is like an elf, a spirit. He passes through the bricks of the fireplace into the living room. He just magically goes woo, and that wasn't a bad answer for a kid to tell a kid. That was pretty sharp.
Now,
But Grandpa was the one that told the young piranha, Madonna or James, that with a liberal Democrat you will get a few crumbs, but with a conservative Republican you will get absolutely nothing. And of course, my conservative corporate upper management uncle said, "Don't believe your grandfather. He's a pinko commie." But my grandfather, God rest his soul, Grandpa John, was right.
he had it correct.
He was right.
Today though, you can do all your wishful thinking you want to get a Democrat to give you some crumbs.
Oh, now they sold you out.
Oh, yeah.
Now you were saying something
They're all
before.
corporatists today.
We were talking. What were we talking about before? Man, we covering so many different subjects.
Christie.
No, before Christie and Santa Claus and where the babies come from. We're talking about what? Dr. Oz, the penis, And maintaining the penis, Pirate's disease, Peyronie's disease, William Bendix. Oh, 1950s. You couldn't. It was very puritanical in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
You could not make any reference to anything sexual. All right, back to the newspaper articles, because we still got a good amount of articles.
Reversing course in the face of a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Governor Christie's office
Here we go.
Monday made a public copy of his calendar showing he met with Roger Ailes, the Fox News chief, for a private dinner last year.
Oh, really? Excuse me while I pour my medicinal antioxidant-rich tea with mixed berries.
But that simple notation, which the Christie administration had refused to release,
I'm not urinating, folks.
is the only official record of the meeting that exists. And there is no record of any correspondence between the two men. The disclosure is an attempt by the Christie administration to head off a legal battle over what records the governor can keep confidential.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, Gawker, a New York City blog,
Gawker.
Gawker, Gawker, as in looking, gawking at someone,
Oogling.
ogling.
When a
yes.
man ogles a woman,
Yeah,
and he
he's
tries
a
to
gawker.
stop short with her. Remember Frank Costanza on Seinfeld? Stop short.
Anyway, Gawker, New York blogger, that chronicles celebrities and the media, requested any correspondence between Christie and Roger Ailes, excuse me, as well as records related to their dinner meeting on
And I'm
September
sure,
11th.
and I'm sure it was a very large dinner meeting.
It was
involves-
probably a donation.
You mean Christie gets free food?
It could have been a moolah donation to Christie's non-existent campaign for president.
You mean the one that he's not interested in?
Yeah.
That Christie refused to deny him?
The meeting took
sorry,
place
but-
September 11, 2010. The governor's office denied the request, saying the records can be kept secret under executive privilege. So Gawker teamed up with the American Civil Liberties Union and filed a lawsuit appealing the denial on Monday. A strong public interest exists in knowing whether the executive in charge of the nation's most watched cable news channel is acting as a political consultant to a prospective Republican presidential candidate.
Yeah.
New York Magazine reported that Ailes encouraged Christie to run for president, an assertion Ailes denied. Shortly after the suit was filed, Christie's office released a supplemental response to Gawker's records request. The new letter said the administration was not backing down from its definition of executive privilege, but officially disclosed that the meeting with Roger Ailes did take place. Okay?
Interesting. Interesting. Well, you know, avoiding touchy questions, controversial questions from
It's the typical Republican's response, right?
from possibly the liberal media. Yes, a typical Republican response is to lie and to avoid and change the subject. Would you feel it's accurate to give Michelle Bachmann the nickname Michelle the Bitch Bachmann? Or what would be a good name that starts with B, the letter B?
Has to start with B.
Well,
she
yeah,
is-
you gotta
she
rhyme
is-
it.
She is prone to lying. She is prone to gaffes. She is prone to not having her history straight.
Bubblehead? Michelle.
Sounds good to me.
Michelle Bubblehead Bachmann?
There you go.
Because she's wrong about her. More than one occasion, she's fumbled American history. Well, I called Sarah Nailing Palin the human slide whistle because of her annoying voice, going up and down like a slide whistle.
Yeah.
But incidentally, the look-alike that plays Nail and Palin, the porno, the look-alike is quite succulent, to say the least. But not well. Palin, when she
Succulent.
succulent, when
I'm sure she does a good job at sucking too.
succulent.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah Palin was, I have to admit, for a woman who later became a conservative, later in life, and a corporatist, she was very hot looking when she won that beauty contest when she was young. What was it, Miss Alaska?
I don't know if she won.
What did she win?
I don't know if she won it. I she was in it.
There's not that
She
many.
might have came in second place or something like that. I don't think she was first place.
There's not that many women in Alaska, let alone hot-looking women. I guess population is
Oh, they'll
low.
melt the ice. That's why they don't have them there. They don't want them to melt the ice.
They don't want the ice to get melted.
You know,
All right.
hot women can melt ice.
True.
Continuing on Christie.
Christie.
Chris Christie, the governor of New Jersey,
Christie.
and fantasy presidential candidate of countless pining Republicans, is
Yeah, nightmarish presidential candidate, not fantasy.
he is the Placido Domingo of contempt, a virtuoso of disparagement. There are times when he blows too hard or
Times?
misdirects his anger.
Times.
Even Placido Domingo has the occasional night off, but when Christie settles on a suitable target, his scorn can scatter his enemies like crows from the trees.
He's like,
Such was the case last week, when he directed a blast of righteous anger at a campaign to thwart the appointment of a prominent Muslim lawyer to Superior Court in Passaic County, mainly on grounds that the lawyer is, well, a Muslim.
let me guess, Christie had something to say about his religion?
I just thought this was a ridiculous and disgusting situation, Christie told me when I called him this past weekend. I think it is terrible to try to exclude someone from office based only on his religion. And that's what was happening here. It seems that he's sticking up for him.
I'm glad you're reading this. I suppose Chris Christie is a lot closer to God than other people, than this
I'm sure
Muslim
he is.
man.
I notice
Yeah,
in the
right.
picture here,
Right.
he's wearing a flag lapel pin like all Republicans.
You mean patriotic?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, Chris Christie is a good Christian, right? He's a Christian. He closes food pantries and soup kitchens or whatever for the homeless in New Jersey.
I think he would tell you that's none of your business.
But that's unchristian to take food out of the mouths of poor people. Very unchristian. Just read the Bible.
It's called gluttony.
And taking away financial help away from the poor. That's
Hey.
also unbiblical.
A bit of background. The lawyer in question is an Indian-born Seton Hall graduate named Sohail Mohammed, who represented, while in private practice, Muslims who had been detained by the FBI after the September 11th attacks.
Right.
None of the men was ever charged with anything related to terrorism. During that tumultuous period, Mohammed also served as a liaison between New Jersey's Muslim community and law enforcement agencies. This is how Christie, who became the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey soon after the attacks, first came to know him. Earlier this year, Christie nominated Mohammed to the Superior Court. Almost immediately, the anti-Muslim blogosphere erupted. Pamela Geller, the doyen of web-based anti-Muslim prejudice, wrote, Governor Christie looked and sounded like he could be presidential. He's not. He's in bed with the enemy.
Yeah.
Another blogger wrote, New Jersey, the Garden State, has just taken its first step toward becoming the Sharia state.
What's that?
Sharia law. Islam.
Oh. Oh,
Sharia
boy.
is Muslim religious law. Republican politicians unaccountably fear will be imminently imposed on the United States.
Yeah.
Michelle Bachmann, Herman Cain,
Here
and
we
Newt
go.
Gingrich
Here we go.
have all invoked the specter of Sharia on the campaign trail.
So Sharia is like similar to the word halal, which is the Islamic dietary laws. Halal, which is,
Yeah.
similar to kosher, similar.
But these laws would be political.
Political laws.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Newt Gingrich and Michelle Bubblehead Bachmann is in on this,
Sharia law is a theocracy.
Yeah, so these people feel they represent God himself, these right-wing fundamentalist conservatives. Okay, they could be judgmental and prejudiced.
Republican candidate Tim Pawlenty believes Sharia law may pose a threat to the Constitution.
Yep, sure can.
Mohammed was eventually confirmed for the judgeship, but Christie was furious at the way he was treated, in part because of the crushing stupidity of the idea that New Jersey is going to become a Sharia state. What was worse, in Christie's view, was the way state senators of both parties grilled Mohammed on his beliefs. At one point in his confirmation hearing, Christie told me Mohammed was asked to define jihad. I was disgusted, candidly, by some of the questions he was asked, by both parties. Christie said last week at a news conference, "This Sharia law business is crap. It's just crazy. And I'm tired of dealing with these crazies. It's just unnecessary to be accusing this guy of things just because of his religious background." Christie is not known to be soft on terrorism. He successfully prosecuted a group of Muslims who were conspiring to attack Fort Dix. So what angered him about Muhammad's treatment? The lack of evidence, he told me. "I'm sorry to invoke my law enforcement experience, but
Excuse me.
we've had cases in New Jersey against Muslims in domestic terror cases, and there was evidence in those cases. I believe the determination about someone needs to be made on facts, not feelings." It was more than baseless accusations that set Christie off. He said the attacks on Muhammad echoed an earlier, less tolerant period in American history. The whole business of bringing up Sharia law reminded me of the presidential campaign of 1960, he said. President Kennedy had to stand up in Houston and say his own personal faith would not intersect with his public life. Since then, I thought we wouldn't have any more of this ridiculousness about people being unable to separate their personal faith from the obligations as public officials. People would laugh today at the idea that a Catholic running for president would have a hotline to the Pope.
Big deal.
Christie is the rare figure in American politics who keeps his equilibrium while talking about the war on terrorism. It's possible, he suggested, to fight Muslim extremists while at the same time acknowledging that the vast majority of Muslims have nothing to do with terrorism except as victims. I think Al-Qaeda would like it to be a clash of civilizations. They want it to be everybody versus everybody. They are a terrorist movement that believes the only way to achieve their ends is through violence, and they don't discriminate. They kill. Muslims who disagree with them, they certainly didn't worry about whether there were any Muslims in the towers on September 11th. I asked Christie if he thought his denunciation of the crazies would hurt his standing in the Republican Party. What happened was motivated by ignorance and political opportunism, but I think it's actually bad politics, because most thinking and voting Americans think that no one should be excluded from office because of their religion. A deep faith in God is part of what makes America a great place. Most Americans think that people, as long as they peacefully follow their faith, shouldn't be demonized.
That's right. It's very unconstitutional to discriminate. Actually, even their sexual preference does not have a bearing on their job performance. In my opinion,
well, now wait a minute. Mitt Romney was speaking the other day.
Oh, God.
And he was interrupted by a gay person. The gay person was making the point that he is being discriminated against, etc. He can't marry, has no the benefits he can't have, etc., etc. And he said that he was a person. And Romney was talking about taxes and this, that, and the other thing. He's not going to raise taxes and increase taxes. And the people yelled out, "Raise taxes on corporations!" And Romney said, hey, corporations are people!
How does he figure that out?
Well, because the Supreme Court has basically said that.
People, they're demons, in my opinion.
They are an instrument.
Instrument.
To achieve a financial aim.
A wicked instrument.
But there is no, I repeat, no precedent law that says corporations are persons.
You're right.
There is a head note back on a railroad case. After the case was settled in court, Santa Clara County, I believe, versus one of the railroads, a journalist wrote a head note on the law. Corporations given personhood. Now, after that, whatever law came up next involving corporations, the Supreme Court said that they were corporations. So what I'm saying is, there are laws up until this day based on that second law, but there is no first law.
Yeah.
There is no first precedent.
No.
That states that corporations are people. They are not people. But that's what the Citizens United case last year with the Supreme Court said.
Yeah.
That corporations are people and their money is free speech.
Yeah, well, they want that because conservatives want to perpetuate their greed more, and they want more rights to exploit.
Well, what happened?
And control the world.
It just happened in Wisconsin.
And enslave you, the little guy.
Yeah, it just happened in Wisconsin. They brought in $40 million from outside money to try to, because the people of Wisconsin were recalling 6 Republican senators who voted with the governor to take away their collective bargaining rights and lay off and fire and get rid of, people, jobs. So the Republicans brought in all this money. And that's what the Citizens United case did. It allows that. So the Koch brothers, DeVos, Amway, Coors, and all the big conservative money now is able to fund all their campaigns, and they can get anyone they want elected at all. That's what we're in now. And that's why it is so important to get money out of elections, out of politics. Of course, that's like a dream. Because, how's it going to happen?
Exactly. Well, I don't agree with everything that the gay movement is doing. I don't know how true this is, but they're trying to make Ernie and Bert of Sesame Street a gay couple.
One guy wants them to marry.
Children are way too young. The kids that watch Sesame Street are way too young.
Yeah, but see, that's not something
to be talking about that, or to do that to an American icon like Ernie and Bert of Sesame Street.
That has nothing to do with making a law.
No. It's,
what we have now, as far as gays is concerned, let's say there's a gay couple and one guy or woman is in a hospital. Well, the lover cannot go in there and be their next of kin.
Yeah.
To make decisions for that person, etc. So, the gays, what they want is to get the discrimination out of the law. But Bert and Ernie, I mean, that's just an opinion of somebody.
Yeah.
That wants.
I mean, sometimes I agree with the right wing. Like one instance, a local representative of the Catholic Church had said, instead of emphasizing the sex education for kids as far as teaching them how to put a condom on a damn banana or a cucumber, they should be teaching children the consequences of a sexually promiscuous lifestyle, like they did in the old days.
What about teaching them about love and relationships and respect and etc.? What about all of these things?
The respect part is important. The psychological part is important because then the young guys will not be abusing young females.
Young ladies.
Like they have been, in terms of things like date rape and, just the general exploitation, the anti-female, women-hating lyrics in some of the rap songs and, just the general abuse of the younger generation of women, consequences. They used to show pictures of venereal disease, sexually transmitted diseases to young people to say, look, if you mess around, this can happen to you. And then children, child support payments until they're 18 years old that you're stuck with. Up the ass, the shillelagh with no lubrication, guys. All right, be careful.
Change of pace.
Tomato paste.
The controversial Quaker parrots of Edgewater seem to have spread their wings into Ridgefield Park.
Why are they called Quaker parrots? They eat Quaker oats? Why are they called Quaker parrots? Continue.
Giving at least one family some exotic wildlife to enjoy from their backyard. The Adelhawks first noticed 2 to 3 of the small green birds about 3 days ago at their Hudson Avenue home.
The Adelhawks looking at the Quaker parrots. There's wild parrots up here in Edgewater, New Jersey, near the Hudson River. How they survive the winters every year is beyond me.
Well, that's what
we got. Some funny names here in this article.
These
anyway,
Quaker parrots are those.
Quaker parrots and the Adelhawk family. Adelhawk or hawk?
Now,
whatever.
There are as many as 10. I think it's pretty cool, to be honest, and they're here, the 31-year-old said, echoing his parents' enthusiasm. The birds have not been welcomed everywhere, however. Public Service Electric and Gas Company,
screw them,
tore down about a dozen parrot nests in Edgewater about 6 years ago.
They suck.
Only to see them rebuilt.
Fuck PSE&G.
Their population in the borough is thought to have reached more than 200 over the years. PSE&G have said their nests on utility poles create a fire hazard.
Oh.
The birds were also considered an agricultural threat, though that has been debated.
Agriculture? In Edgewater, New Jersey? What agriculture? What agriculture? Weeds?
Weed growing.
Oh, man. These parrots probably ran away from home because they hated their owners. Parrots are very intelligent, and they live for a very long time.
Well, these are more like parakeets. They're small. They're not
They're not like large
macaws and
Amazon
no.
parrots. They're
No, these are parakeets.
which is in a parrot family. I mean, budgies.
Budgies, yeah.
They're originally from the outback desert of Australia. For those of you that are, wondering where parakeets come from.
Adelhawk said he has yet to see any nests which can reach 4 feet long and
What?
are the birds' year-round residences.
4 feet long. I'm sure it's a whole load of these parakeets or cockatiels or whatever.
4 feet long.
Not just one.
Maybe they're living as a family, a community.
Yeah, not just one
Yeah.
or two parakeets.
But he wouldn't mind if they were there to stay. They're so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
How the parrots came to the area is undetermined. But one theory is that they escaped from a damaged crate at John F. Kennedy Airport in the 1960s.
Interesting. And I would say that unless you have another hard-hitting, small article, that would be the last article. But do you have anything not big but very, very interesting in front of you?
Yeah.
I mean, not frivolous. Interesting.
No, this isn't frivolous at all.
Okay, and it's not too long. Not too long.
Texas Governor Rick Perry
That bastard.
sent a strong message to the nation's evangelicals on Saturday.
This is a good article.
He is a member of the important constituency for Republicans that he soon may call upon to help him secure the GOP presidential nomination. Perry hosted what he called a National Day of Prayer, an event at Reliant Arena that drew roughly 30,000 people, and that was broadcast on the cable Christian channels and the internet nationwide, including at least 1,000 churches. Father, our hearts break for America, Perry said, in 12 minutes of remarks that included prayer and Bible passages,
Oh, really?
but no direct mention
Interesting.
of politics or his presidential plan.
But he mentions Bible passages. Were they interpreted accurately?
Well, I don't have them here.
I wonder if they were real.
We see discord at home. We see fear in the marketplace. We see anger in the halls of government. And as a nation, we have forgotten who made us, who protects us, who blesses us. He asked Christians to turn to God for answers to the nation's troubles, and asked the audience to pray for President Obama, though he did not use the Democratic incumbent's name, as well as for the American troops killed in the weekend attack on U.S. helicopter in Afghanistan. The moment gave Perry a national spotlight before a pivotal voting group in the GOP nomination fight. In the early voting, states of Iowa and South Carolina in particular, as he nears a decision on whether to run for president. Well, he's running. His entrance into the field could shake up the contest because Perry could attract both social and economic conservatives at a time when the GOP electorate is unsettled with the current slate of candidates. Many have been campaigning for months and are trying to break out of the pack. As Perry held court in Houston, for instance, former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty and Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann were holding multiple campaign events each day in Iowa ahead of next weekend's test vote, a straw poll that is a barometer for a campaign's organizational strength 5 months before the state's leading caucuses. Perry has been talking with potential donors, GOP operatives, and party leaders about a possible run. But he has been tight-lipped about just when he would announce a decision. Though he plans to visit at least one early voting state, South Carolina, over the next weekend. Well, he already said he's running. So there you are.
Oh, goody, goody, goody.
Who's you?
Yeah, another conservative that's decided to run and
Try to destroy the country.
try to destroy the country, starve out or kill off the poor, and give more trillions of dollars to the rich and the elitists, and have no compassion for the poor, starve them out, kill them off. You know, maybe start another war, more war profiteering. You know, the things that conservative Republicans do. And aside from all that, still find time to pray for America like they always do, and in this case using Bible verses. I don't know what Bible verses can possibly support conservatives, but since they're counterfeit.
None. None that I know of.
Since they're counterfeit Christians. But anyway, we had a very invigorating discussions this week, Dr. Bill, and thank you, as always, and thank you people out there for joining us. And, oh, by the way, before I forget, this coming Thursday, I believe, yours truly, James Parana Madonna, along with the Renaissance Man Can Create, and unless it changes, unless the plan changes, the king of Lucha Libre, Latin superstar, Latin sensation, professional wrestler, Mr. Frankie Flo, will be on the Irwin Benz show with Irwin Benz and Carl Richards on Channel 23, Time Warner Cable, going locally and nationwide. Time Warner Cable this Thursday. We will return, okay, and you will see a lot more of Ken Create's performances this time. Take care. Say so long.
Hasta luego.